is like, dude, I haven't eaten 48 hours. I think the last time I drank water was this morning, maybe? No. Last night after all the alcohol. And I'm done. I'm ready. I'm done. This was an awesome convention. And now I smell bad. So yeah, welcome to Crossplay for Girls. We're going to be talking about how to turn yourself into a man, or troll, as it were. Basically just, lots of fun tips for becoming awesome and whatever. Basically, was anybody here for the Crossplay for Girls panel? Yes. I'm just curious. Okay. We've had a few people arrive. Basically, we usually run the panel together, except we both put in for it separately this time. She's currently, the person who runs it usually is currently in World Cosplay Summit, actually, so wish her luck, hopefully everything goes well. And so we both up at the same panel, so happy to have her. So first of all, can you be a guy? The answer is always yes. Just so you know. It's pretty much impossible to not, you're probably not going to be, there's a pretty low chance that they're going to be, somebody's going to turn to you and be like, it's a dude, no wait, it's a girl! Probably not going to be a successful reverse trap, but you can be an excellent anime character, by which I mean, at least as much as, because they're all girly guys, really. They all look like girls, so it'll be awesome. We'll talk about that. I finally found pictures. Yes. Okay, I've had this thing for like 3 years, and I was like, I think I should add pictures finally. All right, so number one thing, of course, that you have to do for guys, as this dude back here for women, yes, is that you have boobs. Here's some stuff you can do for binding and whatnot. Ace bandages. You can buy them at any convenience store, which is awesome. Don't get sticky kind. Like if you go to CVS or Rite Aid or anything like that, they're gonna have a whole section that's for people that actually hurt something, and you're like, I'm just gonna have no boobs. And you go in there, and they're gonna have 4-inch wide and 6-inch wide and all this stuff, and some of them are gonna be self-adhesive. Don't buy that. When you get self-adhesive bandages, they stick to your nipples. That's uncomfortable. I don't recommend it. So yeah, just get the regular and then they'll come with little hooks on them or whatever, and you're gonna lose those. It's literally 3 seconds flat. So you'll be standing around and be like, whoa, something wrapping around, unwrapping around my chest. And you just safety pins. Anyway, so the pro about this is that it's easy to put on and take off. It is a little bit. I do recommend getting a friend if you are comfortable with somebody being that close to your boobs. Doing all making sure that they do all that stuff because they can help you get it tighter. The number one thing is that it restricts breathing because what you're doing is actually wrapping your rib cage. And you know what happens when you wrap your rib cage really tight? You can't breathe anymore. And I like air. Breathing's overrated. Oh, breathing is never overrated.
It's a good thing to practice breathing from your diaphragm. You're still not going to get quite as much air, but it is actually what you use to see. You're not really supposed to have your rib cage and shoulders move. So you go online and look for tips for breathing exercises for singers. It probably also help. Don't be afraid of your boobs. If it hurts, reach your hand in there, wiggle them around a little bit. Many of you have squishy boobs. Just go in, squish them, and then say, hey, wrap right here. One thing is that if you are wrapping and then all of a sudden stuff starts shifting, you might find that it's pushing down or pushing to the side, and you might be like, oh, no, that's fine. I'll be fine for 5 hours. You won't be fine for 5 hours. It's not going to be comfortable, but make it as least uncomfortable as you possibly can. From the beginning, it will help you out a lot later on.
Yep. The thing that happens with age bandages is they'll slide down and they'll slide up. You know, you see those people around watching this. Okay. That's why. Because they'll slide down, stuff like that. You probably have to go and adjust them periodically. But they're really useful because, you know, they're $8 at the most. And that's if you buy like a really wide one. So that's nice. I really think they're neat. That would be pretty much it for age bandages. This is generally how I wind down. Today, I'm actually bound down with 2 jockey bonds. You are very small, like I am, 8 up, generally smaller. Then you can get away with a jockey rock, and sometimes just, or 2 in my case, and that will work just as well. But if you're big or bigger, it probably won't work out that well for you. Jockey rods are meant, of course, to stop you from moving, but they're not actually meant to like press them down and Katsucon out of existence into your ribcage or whatever. Okay, this is open chest binding, and I'm going to say now, who here has, if you've never bound down before, everything I'm about to say is a huge caveat. Be really careful when you do this, okay? Number 1, reason why is because it can really screw up your skin. Number 2 is because you could have a con accident. That would be really awkward. So basically, like the nice thing about this is that because it doesn't go all the way around your chest, it does not restrict your breathing, which is really cool. And then also you can do all those overture characters like this punk here, who's like, I'm Roxas, I'm hot. That's actually what I would separate. The way that one's done is basically you have you take sports tape. And you're going to run it from your from like here down to your bottom of your rib cage, generally speaking, over your nipples. Okay, and then after that you can use sports tape again, or duct tape with a humongous caveat that we talk about, and have that seriously from like basically right over the sports tape to around your back, and that's going to, and then it just separates them. It's like you've got like crazy awesome pecs. And you're gonna feel and you're gonna be able to breathe. Like it was the weirdest. I've done it twice, and both times I'm like, I'm bound down, but it's like I'm not. So awesome. Man, here's my major caveat about that. Okay, duct tape and skin. You know how you say like you can't duct it. You know, like the bad word bit or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can do that to your skin, but you can also take off your skin with it. Duct tape will also sweat off. Okay, so can sports tape, however, so it's still one of those things you have to be really careful about. But duct tape can also sweat off, but generally it doesn't, and generally it just doesn't want to come off at all. And so you can like, I have had friends that have scarred their backs doing this because they did not remove it carefully, or they left it on too long and then tried to remove it. So the only way that I would recommend ever getting it off is step in a hot shower while you're still wearing a binding. Okay, that'll loosen it up, like get your skin wet and moist and whatever, and then it'll come off more easily. But you have to be really careful with that, like seriously, because if any of you like scar your back or whatever, I'm just gonna laugh at you now. I hope not to, so you know, that's mostly it's that's the main reason why. Like when it's a painful to take off, I mean more like it's dangerous. Be careful. So
You're good, no Russians.
Alright. As with anything that you're putting on your skin, any adhesive can be an allergen. Do not do this the day of the con and then look down and be like, hey, there's this red, test it. Small patch somewhere on your skin that's not easily irritated, or after that, test it on a slightly more sensitive area like the inside of your wrist. And practice. Don't just be like, I'm going to do this method the day of the con, and then sit there and be like, this goes from some, but, now my hands are tied. Practice, practice, practice. At least a month ahead of time, so that way you can get used to it, and so you know when you're having problems breathing, because sometimes you're just so excited and you're wandering around and it's awesome, and then you're staring at the ceiling and you're kind of dizzy, and you're like, wow, maybe half an hour ago when stuff started getting kind of fuzzy, maybe that was me not being able to breathe.
There's something I was really excited about. crossplaying a lot, and you're going to be crossplaying for a long time, this is a very worthy investment. I recommend Thunderworks from a few other places that I cannot remember the name of because I'm awesome. But basically, if you like go online, you're like compression shirt on wheel. Okay, you'll get a bunch of websites, and a lot of them are for people that are transgendered, and they are meant for daily use. They're really fantastic. Yeah, I mean, like those, and they come for all different sizes of boobs. Like it's really, they're really quite great. I personally don't have one because I'm lazy and I keep on being like, I'm gonna quit cosplaying this year. No. So I never actually bothered to buy one, but they are really fantastic and they are comfortable too.
You can buy them used. Oftentimes you'll find people selling them after they've gone through the surgery and no longer need them, or perhaps they've changed their weight and so they'll need to change the size of the compression vest. I have not heard much about it. There are compression vests that are shorter. Most of the time you'll find they go down to your hip and slightly longer, but there are ones that are kind of like a sports bra. Something to look into. Like I said, I haven't heard any pros or cons about it, but it is a possibility if you have something that shows your stomach.
Yeah, my friend has one actually. Like they can like in like here at the bottom of the rib cage or whatever. So that's pretty fantastic too. Yeah, compression shirts are awesome. Okay, yeah. So this is things that are going to help you look even more like a dude. So things that we do not have. Generally speaking, guys have wider shoulders than girls do. Also, generally speaking, guys don't have hips. That may not be true if you're reading like bicycles or let's see, gravitation. That's old school for you. But yeah, so there's a few things where you're going to realize you, or like my personal favorite actually of all time is definitely Kuja from Final Fantasy IX. Excuse me. I'm over here, and everybody's like, dude, that chick was really, oh no! That's not a cop, that's a girl. What is going on? Yeah, okay, yeah. Adventure. Generally speaking, you're going to have, dudes generally have wide shoulders, they don't have much hips, and they don't have as big butts, necessarily. That might not be true. You may be much more lucky than me. Yeah, so shoulder pads will help you out. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a straight enough, like a straight line for your body, generally speaking. Like for instance, this fantastic referee outfit is because of the way that it's designed. Like it's actually open on the sides, but basically it creates a straight line from my underarms to my hips, which mitigates the fact that I have hips. And that is in fact actually probably like your measurements or whatever. That's my biggest one. So that's really quite helpful. You're going to look for things that are going to help you do that. For instance, you want to have that straight. You also want to have straight legs, generally speaking. So like I assume generally speaking, your male character is going to be wearing pants. They might be wearing shorts, and there's a possibility of wearing a butt skirt. Boy, Mustang. But you will find that but generally speaking, they're wearing pants, so you can do like a straight cut. Like for instance, skinny jeans are probably not going to serve you well when you're dressed as a dude. Okay, like just because you're a girl, it's going to be like very obvious that you're not a dude. Nope, I mean like they're really cute, but that is not a guy. And then yeah, you can like pad here and bind your butt. Binding your butt can be kind of awful. I tried it once. Not really. It kind of like goes like basically it's like putting ace bandages for like right around here, like So I mean like you could theoretically, I don't know. I took mine off, but and just it's supposed to like it can just make your butt flatter more than anything else. And if you're wearing like tightish pants or whatever, that might be helpful. And then padding your waist, like you can put ace bandages there or whatever, and there's a couple of other things you can do too. I think you've talked about this before.
It's an old kimono trick. The ideal for a kimono body actually is also a straight line. So what they do is they take towels and they wrap them around your waist and then they bind them down to give you that flat line. The kimono fits better on you.
That's awesome. Sorry, I got distracted by an email from work. This is what I do on my weekends. Dress me gray. All right. Yes, this is my favorite part. I'm so derpy. Okay. Posing. Yes. Okay. Don't do this. Hi. look fabulous in that. The sassy gay friend is awesome, okay? But probably your character's not the sassy gay friend. I want to see you after this. That's awesome. So okay, yeah, we're gonna. So I'm so glad this is a small room. One time we had a kind of a biggish one, and I was like, I don't know how to show everybody. Basically, like with guys, okay, like we have. Girls have more movement in their hips from side to side. Okay, which guys generally don't. They also walk to protect their junk. Okay, girls tend to walk with their feet close together. All right, and guys tend to be more shoulder width apart. Okay, because they've got precious places we don't have. At least not outside of our bodies. So basically, like, so they don't generally only have like most of the movements from forward and back. And I'm not going to show that because that's a secret. So basically what you're trying to do when you're posing is you're going to really want to, you're going to, like, for instance, like, okay, like a guy's going to have their weight, like, centered between both of their feet, okay? Whereas a girl might cock her head, okay? So, for instance, so, like, I can have this pose, okay? It's like, I'm a superhero in a referee outfit. Or I could be, I'm a superhero in a referee outfit. And like, so like literally, you'll see this very often because most people pose in 3/4, which is a very good angle for your body. It's going to be a good angle whether you're dressing as a guy or a girl because it just shows off like all of the aspects of your costume. It also is a good view of your face. It also and even though you're not trying to show off curves or whatever, it just has a good line for your body. Like you look at this like straight on, and then you look at it this way, and it's like, oh wait, no, actually that costume looks like it might almost be cool. So. What you want to, so when you do that kind of thing, instead of like putting your weight back like this or something, you're going to center your weight between your 2 feet. That is, I think, probably the most helpful thing when you're doing just a standing pose. Fighting poses, yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm like, like with, I mean, you can do also, it's going to depend on your character. Just please bear in mind for all of these things, you might have a really girly guy character, and all of this is completely not applicable. And maybe they do stand like this. It's entirely possible. But you know, like you can do like fun things, and then also like depending on what kind of props you have, you know, for instance, like if I have like a sword or something like that, then I don't want to just like, you know, you can do this sword over the shoulder thing or whatever. That was your cloud, which will that way. Or, you know, like anything that's going to be large, you know, you not put over your shoulder or whatever. But you can also do, like, you know, cool poses like something like this, you know? Yeah, like basically, like, work with your character. A lot of it's going to be, like, look at how they stand in their silly photos of whatever kind, you know, like their promo shots. And, like, you'll see that one pose in the manga, and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so cool, like, Death the Kids thing. It's so cool, man. Then you do it in real life, it doesn't look nearly as cool. It's kind of derpy. Practice in front of a mirror. Whatever you're doing, basically you're gonna look at it and be like, all right, what looks like mannish, and also looks like my guy, like my character. Like, do I look like the dude that I'm supposed to be dressing up as? Because all I always think of the Vice-Kreuz pictures, which has anybody here read Vice-Kreuz? I'm just curious. No. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
We are so old.
Oh, I know, right? Oh my gosh, Vice-Kreuz is like the 90s. Probably most people were born in the 90s. Yeah. Okay, yeah, alright. So we've seen like the anime promo shots or whatever. It's like them standing on a hill, the wind blowing through their hair, and they're like, emo. It's hilarious. That's the best picture ever. And my personal favorite, the main character's hair was red, except that it was actually like pink in the anime because for whatever reason. And he wore an orange sweater. And I looked at him and I was like, hey, clap! And how did you manage to make his hair clash with his shirt? Because that's just, wow. Wow. You needed a sassy gay friend to help him out. Badly. It's pretty awful. Let's see, I don't know if we're gonna, yeah, okay. Basically, while we're in the subject of posing, we'll talk about other things like moving around and stuff like that. We're going to try and make you the most ultimate reverse crap ever, and make people actually, like, when they see you from behind, actually think you're a dude until they get around you and they're like, that face is way too pretty. And there's not nearly enough there's too much makeup on it, one, and there's also not enough facial hair. Where's the part So, yeah, all right. So, like again, like we're talking about how guys walk or whatever, like girls put one foot in front of the other, right? So like these, the stars are where, like generally speaking, a girl's gonna have her feet really close to each other when they walk. So, and we tend to like, we actually almost will swing one foot in front of the other, like generally, if you think about it, you know, when you look at what you're doing. Sorry, that's a record. And so this is what we do, right? Swing one foot in front of the other. So with a guy, it would be almost like instead you're like, oh my gosh, the stars are lava! And walk a little bit wider. Now it's not going to be super wide, and you're like, no, I feel like this. Probably bad, don't do this. But just a little bit, but just like basically instead, you're going to have your feet on two parallel lines to each other that are like, it would be like if you're walking down the yellow lines in the middle of the highway. Please don't do that. But where you're putting one foot only on one line and the other foot on the other line is what for a guy. Whereas a girl is walking along the dotted line in the middle of the highway. Also don't do that. So, that's generally speaking again, you know. And I find that is really helpful. Also when posing, one of the things that's really cool, guys tend to have stronger jaw lines than girls do. That's not always true. I have a strong jawline, for instance. But in order to make it look more masculine, if you will, it's like, oh man, look at that man, strong. You can clench your back teeth, which I did not know was a thing, but I found out about it recently. I was like, oh, that's a cool tip. So basically, like, I have bangs in this kind of adventure, but but basically, like, you're just going to take your back teeth, and it's going to be like you're about to swallow, functionally. Like, it's the first step of swallowing. You bring up your tongue, and that will bring all of in here up. Like that. So like normally it's here, and then it goes in. I don't know if you can see it very well because of spray makeup, but it basically, it really does make a marked difference. You'll see like how your jawline becomes stronger when you look at the photo. You'll be like, oh my gosh. So, I think that is a really useful tip. And then, yeah, and also like keeping your shoulders straight. Again, like, you know, guys tend to have wider shoulders, so you're going to keep your shoulders back even further than you normally would. Like literally, I would almost like practice like getting your arm back here. Okay, you're not going to actually put them there when you're doing a pose. But you have muscles that are between your shoulder blades that you may or may not realize are totally atrophied from all those hours in front of a computer. And then when you stand up and you actually put your shoulders back, you're like, ow! You're standing normally, man, finally! Yeah, so you're gonna like, so you can like work those shoulders, so you can work that area, and then when you get to that point, you're gonna be able to.
You totally forgot your favorite part of being a dude.
Oh yeah! I'm sitting here, okay. I'm gonna sit on the table. I'm a jerk, okay. I'm a terrible person, I'm gonna ruin all of this stuff. Alright, so girls, this is my favorite part because of the reasons. Girls sit like this, we do this too, right? Yeah. Uncomfortable. Crossed legs. Yeah. For those who cannot see. I crossed my legs, and this is not a comfortable position for most men. No. So guys do this, where they put their ankle on their knee instead. That's more of a guy kind of thing. Girls tend to sit, yeah, well, maybe not.
That's what she said.
Oh, okay. I was like, maybe I'm wrong. We got some guys in here. They're probably looking at me like, what is she talking about? Like also, like if you're sitting with, don't sit with your knees together. They're apart, okay? Dudes are like, it's right here. I want you to know where it is.
True story. True story.
This is my good. And then the other thing that I enjoy is actually because also girls tend to sit far, we tend to sit far back in our seats, you know, because it's more comfortable to just like rest your back or whatever. Dudes.
This is true.
So again, like I mean, like mostly knees apart, okay? Like literally, like guys are generally not knees closed people, and you can see how quickly that changes everything. This is guys in front of a television. No, okay, girls do that too, but at least I do. Maybe I'm. Well, okay, then. Fair enough. Sorry. Yeah. Like I mean, like you know, again, like this is all kind of like cisgender standards that I'm talking about. I just want to make that clear really quick because like it's definitely like. not true across the board by any means. But as a general rule, when you're doing a character that's a guy, you're trying to do things that are going to make you more stereotypically male. Yes. Guys don't wear makeup, girls dressing up as guys totally do. And even if you are a guy dressing up as a guy, you're also totally wearing makeup, because makeup is going to make you look better on camera no matter what. Because one of the fun things that happens is that you get oily faces over the course of the day, and then that's what everybody sees when someone takes a picture with flash. It's like, that person's face is on fire! No, you don't want that, so makeup will help mitigate that. You can also use it to help you look more like a guy. Because like the things that you normally do when you're putting on makeup is, you know, you put in your foundation, you've got a nice even palette, you can put on your blush, and you know, like, and the thing is that you're still doing an anime character. They still have eyes that are this big, and so you're still gonna like put on like eyeliner and mascara and things like that are gonna make your eyes look larger and stuff. But you can, but instead of doing like your cheekbones here with the blush, you can do here instead and get your T-zone like with the blush as well. And that creates a, and that basically draws the eye, like takes the darker places and makes them look, it just like sharpens all of your lines. It's really kind of interesting. It's kind of like creating a, sorry? And under the jaw, yeah, that's the other thing. If you get like underneath here, especially if you're not like me and don't have like a very obvious jawline going on, then it will also create the illusion of having a sharper jaw.
You can kind of think of it as visually shaping your face so that, say you have a very rounded jaw, you can actually make a bit of a line. Don't use blush, use more of a bronzer or a darker foundation. And again, no matter what you're doing, check the foundation color. There are so many colors out there, and if there are warm tones and there are cool tones, and if you have a warm tone skin and you use a cool tone foundation, you're going to look very thick, and you're going to have a lot of people being like, are you okay? You're not looking good over there. Because it either grays out your face or it makes it look very green, both of which are signs that you probably should be looking at the bathroom. Or you had too much alcohol the night before. Or you're troll. But there's a lot of sculpting that you can do, like she said, under the cheekbones rather than on top of it, just because generally females have a bit of a rounder face, so if you have that sharper, almost like a 7 look, that'll give you more of the cheekbone aspect. And like I said, you can shape your jaw a little bit. Don't be like, this is a line in my jaw. Subtle. But every little bit helps, especially on the camera.
Yeah. The main thing is that like you might look at yourself in the mirror and be kind of like it doesn't look like that much or anything. And then the camera will like give you a totally different image. As we talked about in a different panel, the camera only has one eye, and we have 2. So we see something different than what a camera does. And so a camera also has like different like a different level of sharpness. There's a lot of different things that go on with it. So basically, what I look like right now on camera, for instance, it's gray turns like almost white, okay, and I'm really dark. So you know, things like that can happen. So it's very useful to have. It may look a little bit derpy in real life, and somebody can take a photo later on and be like, this is the coolest picture. So, yes. My favorite thing to do is to go online and look at all those like amazing like crossplays, like in Japan, for instance. Okay, which is my personal favorite because in Japan it's a really big deal to them that you be the same height as the character for some reason. As opposed to relative heights. Okay, so my personal favorite was I got onto a website and I was looking for pictures of Dante from Devil May Cry, and I see this chick who's done this amazing Devil May Cry. I was like, dude, that is awesome. It looks exactly like 4, except for the fact that she had on 6-inch strip heels. Well, the reason why is because she's not naturally 6'1", and she needed to be 6'1" for this picture. So I was like, wow, no. I mean, it can ruin everything. Like, literally, just like, you're like, wait, but why would you do that?
They shouldn't be remembering your shoes.
Yeah.
They may be awesome shoes. Use them for something else.
Yeah, those boots are fantastic. I really prefer them on Sailor Star. So basically, like, I recommend that you go to flats. It may not necessarily be the right idea. For instance, as you can see, I am wearing heels right now. supposed to be a guy, but like they're clunky, you know. Like there's ways you can get around and like fool around with the idea of wearing flats. I have a pair that actually, it's a pair of shoes that have a heel on them. It raises 2 inches, but they're not. But they look like platforms, even though it's just a heel. It's only the heel that's actually raised. And if you're wearing pants that go down, you know, nobody's going to even see that. So there are ways that you can fool around with your height, but still not wear stripper heels. Don't do stripper heels. Just don't anyway. So, you know, the whole stiletto things.
If you want to change your impression of height, you can play around with your waistline. That if you drop it a little bit lower or a little bit higher, it changes how your legs look. So if you want to look like you're shorter or taller, you can fool around with that. Straight lines. If you're wearing, say, school uniform, if you have that line down the front of your pant leg that you iron it in, that'll help lengthen your leg a little bit. Like it doesn't have to be literally 6'1". You can create optical illusions by playing around with your proportions.
I know that a lot of you are planning on doing this with groups, I'm assuming, and so you're kind of like, but I'm like 3 inches shorter than the person who's supposed to be like 3 inches shorter than me, or like, you know, that kind of thing. And again, like you can play with that, but the nice thing that, the thing that I find works the best is actually just changing how you pose. So you've got a character that's supposed to be significantly shorter than you, but you are significantly shorter than your other model. Then you can, then the person who's taller might need it, okay, or you need it, or something like that, okay, in front of the other person for your pictures, because basically then it takes that all out of the equation, you know, you don't have to even worry about your other heights. So you can do stuff like that with it as well. Use stairs. Stairs are fun. It's stairwells. Personally, I think the back ones here would be fantastic for Silent Hill. Dude, crazy. Anyway. So that pretty much covers things actually. It was a really short panel this time because of reasons. But does anybody have any questions about stuff? Facial hair. Thank you. I didn't sleep last night. I apologize everybody. Facial hair is kind of fun. You can do that with a couple different ways. Makeup is one. With a stipple brush and like a darker foundation. Stipple brushes are stiff bristles, basically, so you can create the impression of stubble, for instance, which is really fun to do with Dante from Devil May Cry. That was, yeah, it looked pretty cool. Actually, when I saw the picture of it, I was like, it looks really gory. But it can work really, really well if you have like a proper stipple brush. And then you can also get spirit gum, and like, you can buy facial hair at some various places online and stuff like that, and trim it. You can also make your own by like wefting. This would be a pain, but you can do it on your own by taking like wefts of hair from a wig, for instance, that you're not using anymore, trimming them really short, and then using the end like spirit gumming that to your face. You can do that kind of thing too. Or you can individually spirit gum pieces of hair to your face. Usually 1 year later, you might actually be copying, you know. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, there are some people who can do that. It usually doesn't look well, and it's usually an entire accident when it does look well. So makeup is the easiest way. It might not be the most convincing, but it is the easiest. And most costume shops actually have fake mustaches and stuff. So depending on how much facial hair your character has, sideburns, that kind of stuff, you can find it out there.
Yes, yeah. You can find sideburns online pretty easily, actually. So, and I live in New York now, and there's like, and every time so I'll go into a wig shop, and they're like, "Would you like to buy a mustache?" Not really. I could have handlebars. Awesome.
You can try for the sideburns. You can try using a mascara brush. If it's a stylized character that's got the like really exaggerated, not more natural.
It's making most of that. Oh, okay, yeah, so it's like pretty epic right there. Yes. Yeah, they're pretty epic. They're epic sideburns. Nick from Luffer. Anybody else? Yes?
You mentioned how the cases over the collar, how can you do something shorter?
Well, the things you were talking about with the waistline will help out a lot with that, definitely. Honestly, I would go as flat as you possibly can, but you're not going to, I mean, like, it's going to be partially, like, I would really recommend posing. to be used in that situation to help you out, especially if you're working with somebody else on something. Is it that you're taller than the person you're going to be cosplaying with, or is it just that you want to look short? The character's just short? Yeah, some of it's just kind of like, depends on how tall you are compared to other people at the con. Because at the end of the day, everybody compares everybody else's heights. And there's nothing you can really do about that. But if you have a skilled photographer, okay, when you get the pictures done, if you're doing like a private photo shoot or something, there's a lot of things they can do also to make your height look much smaller. So,
Play around with size with props and such like that. Like if you have big oversized shoes, it makes you look smaller and younger because people have this set idea of this is approximately how big your feet should look. And you have people like me with monster feet and they go, what size shoe do you wear again? And I go, I wear size 9s. And they go, no you don't. And I'm like, you want to try my shoes on? But big pointy heels, flat colors will help almost cartoonify it, which again, that subconscious idea of smaller, middle, younger, if that's the look that you're going for. So if the character has a belt buckle or necklaces and stuff, make them a little bit larger so that you look smaller in comparison to everybody else.
anybody else? Silence. This is weird. Okay. Yes.
For our musical, I'm a guy, of course, like always. I'm always a guy, that's a lot. And I'm really not like a guy at all. I have with the binding and everything, I heard the things, but it's a musical, and I'm one of the people who dance the most. How am I supposed to go about that?
I mean, the compression vest is going to be, the really helpful thing about the compression vest is that it's even pressure on everything. With the binding, with the knees bended, you've got strips and then strips. It's not going to be evenly outside of the band or a little bit tighter with the compression vest. That compression, it's kind of like wearing a corset, except up higher. It does make everything distribute more evenly so it is easier to move.
Okay.
Practice, and like I said, breathing exercises, and just if you practice with the binding or the vest on ahead of time, you'll get, it's kind of like running almost, and that you just get used to not being able to have as much oxygen, and so you just kind of build your body up to that standard.
Okay. Thank you.
What's up?
What's the biggest mistake you've seen?
Walking. Honestly, walking is generally the biggest giveaway because we move a lot. Guys go straight. You know, they're pretty stiff. They've got their shoulders. We move, we sway. When someone's floating down the aisle, pretty much guaranteed that it's a girl. Guys have a different skeletal structure with their hips. Like, if you kneel on the ground and reach forward and pick something up, because some dude wouldn't do it, it's possible he couldn't do it. There's actually a video online where you see a woman pick up a box, and the guy's like, I can't do it!
It doesn't work like that.
It's just the way your hips are slightly tilted and the way that your bone socket goes in, that changes it. So that's why it's important to change how you walk, because it's literally a physical difference that you're trying to compensate for.
Your hips were made to lift and separate someday. And guys are not. So that's the reason why we have much more side-side differences. Yes, sir.
I also have cross-dress and play. So how can you like change your voice? You know, like it's
When you're speaking, there's kind of a basic level, and then there's a higher level that you'll often find yourself using when you're talking to customers, because when you're a girl and you talk in a higher voice, you're kind of cuter, and so, you know, people appreciate that. And so if you go back onto your base level and then you go down a little bit further, a little bit slower, and try and think about down here and practice. I am not experienced in it. There are videos online. It's really quite amazing what you can do, but it does take a lot of practice. You do need to build up to it. Start up slowly, because your throat's going to get really sore literally in the first 5 minutes. Really low, really low. You're literally stretching your vocal cords down further, and they're not used to it. It's kind of like exercising. Build up, practice. Time period again. Like, this isn't something you could like the didn't play and be like, well, I'm going to try this out.
Yeah, and, or you can smack 4 packs of cigarettes in one day. Bad life choices. Sorry. Yes?
I said, sound like Dr. Girlfriend, so this one with cigarettes.
That'll make your voice lower eventually. Yes?
This is more of a general question, but what do you do when your wig is a different color than your eyebrows?
Makeup. I have actually had a lot of luck with the mascara that is 2 stages. So you've got the clearer stage that puts a coating on it. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's got a whitish cast. When you have that on there, you can then build up some powder on it. I generally do a pencil and then powder on it. Some sort of a sealant. I mean, no matter what you put on there, if you've got bangs, it's going to start rubbing off. However, it's later on in the day, and you probably don't care if you're like, I am so hot. I want to get this wig off now. And the bangs are probably partially covered anyway. But it's a little bit of a process. But your eyebrows look kind of nice because you spent all that time combing into outside together.
One thing I'm going to mention really quickly, because we get this question fairly often, is crotches. So once upon a time when I cosplayed Dante from Devil May Cry, which is probably my most crossplay-ish cosplay, really, because he's the manliest man ever met. That's why there's so many Femme Dantes on Death Artist. But anyway, for that, I actually stuffed a roll of socks down front of my pants. Be very careful with that, unless you want to be bold with Robin. But it can like, it just enhances it a little bit, you know. It'll also make you think about where your legs are if you do something like that. It might be something fun to practice with if you're like feeling adventurous. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna wear these pins. And then you just walk around with it because you will know there's something right there, you know. And you're like, okay, here's how I walk. All right, I got this. It might help. So it's kind of fun. Anything else?